Happy Tuesday. The Imperfect Action live stream is back. It's my
Woohoo!
first Imperfect Action. Yes, it is. We are back, baby. My first one for 2024. It's time to get back into it. For those of you who don't know me, I am Rob Fenstermaker. I am your former corporate burnout survivor turned kingdom builder, and I want to empower you to build your kingdom. What makes this Imperfect Actions live stream so great is my first one I've actually brought on a guest. My guest today is Tiffany Cano, a blind spot healer. I'm just going to read what you sent me as your bio, Tiffany, if you're fine with that. So, Tiffany is the CEO of Highly Perceptive People Academy, and she has been getting paid healing since she was 8 years old. That's amazing. 8 years old, and you're already empowering people and healing them. That's amazing. 8 years old.
Yes,
You know
a
what?
dollar
I
for
can.
10 minutes.
But when I was 8 years old, I can only imagine. I just imagine some of the silly things I was doing when I was 8 years old. And I'll be honest. I think back about some of that times. I'm actually kind of lucky to be alive. Just some of the goofy things that especially we boys did at 8 years old. But you know what? But no, Tiffany, you work with empaths, intuitive transfer, and with your transformative. Boy, I can't even say that. Transformational workshop leaders and coaches hired to help her to seek healing in their blind spots. We all have blind spots. That's what's powerful. You think about when you're driving your car down the road, and your mirror always says, check your blind spots. But we all have blind spots in our lives because they're there. We all have them, and sometimes we just need those truth tellers in our lives to tell us what those blind spots are. You fill that space. I like the term truth teller. So I'll call you a truth teller. That's what you are. You show people those blind spots, and that's powerful. Um, so Tiffany, what do you want to share about yourself as far as your bio and who you are? Why don't you just share with us real quick exactly who you are and what it is you do?
I am love. And I'm just here to serve, the
Yeah.
souls that are ready to up level themselves personally and professionally. Like when we see those blind spots, there's often some sort of pain or trauma or self-limiting beliefs that are stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I guide you there, it's from a place of love and safety and comfort,
Yeah.
when you're ready for that.
Yeah.
And we just go in and heal it, clear it out, with God's help and blessings, and then
Yeah.
you have space to be your true essence
Yeah.
and manifest the life that you want. So a lot of people come to me because they want more money, more loving relationships, greater health and vitality, or stronger spiritual connection. And then I just, clairvoyantly tune in to what's in the way and then
Yeah. What's in the
help
way? Because
you release that.
yeah, we all have those obstacles. Love is a powerful word, and we're both people of faith. We both have faith as our foundation, and a lot of my faith is centered around the faith I've learned through the Bible, and the word love in the English when we use the word love, it can mean a multitude of different things. And I like to say, I can say, "Oh, I love tacos and I love my wife," but those are two different ways. But it's the same word. It's the
Mhm.
same exact word. And in the ancient Hebrew, love is described in three ways. There's the filial love, the brotherly love. Think
Mhm.
Philadelphia, this the city of brotherly love. There's the eros love. That's that physical love that husband
Yes.
and wife experience. That physical love, and then there's that agape love that we
Yes.
don't really think about much, and that's that unconditional love. That I'm going to love you regardless of who you are. I think of my dog. Before we started, I had to let my dog in. Just think about dogs.
Dogs are
Dogs.
so
They're
good
the
at agape.
yeah, they are. They're the ultimate unconditional. They're going to love you regardless. You can be the funny thing with my dog, I can leave the house for 10 minutes or I can leave the house for 10 days. When I walk back in that house, my dog's going to treat me the same way. He gets all excited and running circles and barking and yipping. That's what unconditional love is about. Is I'm going to love you regardless of what you do.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people miss that because we're all going to make mistakes in life. We're all going to make mistakes, and sometimes I see people that they'll hold that mistake over somebody and make
Mm.
the love conditional, and that's not love. That's not love. That's what would you call it? Where I'm only gonna love you if you do this.
Well, it's conditional, it's, uh, manipulative.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
that was the word I was looking for, manipulative, yeah,
yeah. It's not clean. So
yeah,
one of the things that my, empathic, spiritual, intuitive folks who can feel energy and they can feel when somebody's trying to give you something, but it's got strings attached and it's not clean.
yeah,
And so
exactly.
just with that one particular example, I teach people how to have energetic boundaries so you can be a yes for like the goodness that was intended from the gift and a no thank you for the
Yeah,
parts that are not clean, that don't
mhm.
serve. And it's a skill to
It is,
receive, only like the good part and be unavailable for the things that just feel gross.
yeah. Because I've definitely had those relationships in my life where there were definitely strings attached, and it's just, it's no fun to be around. It's because they're making it about them, and it's
Yes.
kind of, I like to say, it's a what's in it for me relationship, where I gotta do certain things in order to maintain this relationship, and, I probably went too long in my life by allowing some of those relationships to exist, but one of the
Mhm.
most powerful things I did was just, you gotta walk away, because I relate all our relationships fall in one of 3 categories: a reason, a season, and a lifetime. So when
Mm.
you have those relationships, look, is this relationship just for a reason? And reasons could be good. I mean, there could be business relationships. There can be any number of relationships that are just for a reason, and it certainly can be good. Um, but a season, I've definitely had those relationships too, where it's just for a season. I've met people and I knew it was going to come to an end because we were going to have to go our separate ways. And you take the most of it, and you make the most of that relationship. But those relationships that are for a lifetime, those are the ones that can be the most problematic at times. I mean, I
Well,
think I think of I think of familial relationships. You're related by family, and we all have those stories of whoever, Uncle Joe or Aunt Betsy, that just they're coming to my holiday dinner. I'm like, all right, I got to gird my loins to get ready for this one.
well, it's an opportunity to be love and acceptance, even with people
Yeah,
that we may not like or feel like we relate to them or have anything
yeah,
in common with. I
yeah.
I actually do a whole spiritual practice before I would go to family functions because I felt that like, oh, I'm okay with some, but not everybody.
Yeah,
So how can I just be love and acceptance
yeah,
and have
yeah,
boundaries? It's like love plus
yeah.
acceptance plus boundaries. So I'm unavailable to talk about things that I don't want to talk about,
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
be available for things that I am comfortable and happy to share about?
yeah. Then I have those relationships where I limit my interaction. I limit my time. I
Yep.
will say, all right, and I jokingly say this to my wife, but there's also a serious side to this too. That I have some of those relationships where I say, you know what, I'm giving them 6 hours for the year. That's it, and I'll keep track. All right, so they've already accrued 2 of those hours. They got 4 hours left till I reset that. And I do it in a way. I mean, it's to one, keep me focused on, what I like to say, keep my main thing my main thing. We got to know what our main thing is. And I'm not saying that some of those relationships, well, I will say it, some of those relationships take me off my main thing. And they don't serve me in a powerful way. So you got to also look at how is this relationship serving you? Is it serving you in a way that takes you to that next level? Are you serving them as well? Because it goes both ways. I mean, there's no
Mhm.
such thing as a pure 50-50 relationship. I don't think it
Yeah.
exists.
No,
I don't think it
I
exists.
don't either. But even just for the purpose of being of service, right?
Mhm.
You and I are prayerful, we're spiritual, I meditate
Mhm.
every day,
Yeah.
so there's lots of spiritual energies that are just within me and around me. And then,
Yeah.
there's certain family members that live in or friend, people that live in
Mhm.
chaos and drama and stress as their go-to.
Yeah.
like they're addicted to drama or something.
Yes.
And
Oh, I've got those people in my life. They're addicted to drama,
I
100%.
I have very few of those in my life, but when I am around them, I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I'm just gonna be peace and calm and love, and that's it."
Mhm. Yeah.
And be that invitation for a shift. Not trying to
Right.
control them, not trying to fix them, just,
Mhm.
being an invitation for peace and love and other possibilities.
That's right, that's right. And, I kinda wanna touch base on some of the things that, that you do, and one of the words you use, um, empathy.
Yes.
Empathy is such a powerful word, and I'll just be honest with you, for me, and I think it's probably true for most men, and it's definitely true for me, empathy was something that was foreign to me. I did not come from a family that practiced empathy, as a matter of fact, anything but. I came from that, old World War II generation where, you fall down, you pick yourself up, and men don't cry, and men are tough, and that was tough. And, being a father to a daughter, and obviously married to my wife, I had
Mhm.
to understand what was empathy. I had to embrace empathy. I like to say I had to learn how to exercise my empathy muscle. And you talk about empowered empathy. Let's talk about that. Share with me what exactly that means.
Well, people who are naturally empathic, let's just start there, okay?
Mhm.
They're feelers. They can
Yeah.
feel the energy around them. They tend to be more
Mhm.
intuitive, like they get a sense, a feeling that somebody's in trouble. And so
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, I gotta call so and so or drop them a text."
Yeah.
Or they'll feel an energy of a room, good or bad, right?
Yeah.
And maybe their danders go up, or they'll feel that someone around them is sad or angry
Yeah.
or worried about something. And so
Mhm.
there's this, I think we all to some degree have it, but as
Yeah.
a toddler and maybe even earlier than that, it starts getting, like, trained out of us, like,
Yeah.
with your upbringing, like, "Boys, be tough, don't cry,"
Yeah.
"Be a man."
Yeah.
It can get trained out, but I think it's our natural spiritual state to
Yeah.
have that empathic nature. Now, the plus side is that there's more emotional connection to people,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
there's that, "I feel ya, I got you," A and so there's that connection and gift, and then on the opposing side for us empaths, it's like, "Damn, that person is feeling funky right now," and it's like, "How do I not sponge that up?"
Yeah.
you know, and being able to practice healthy space and boundaries so that they're not,
Mhm. Yeah.
absorbing that funk that is around the in the room or around the people. I
Yeah.
would go to, and this was before I knew about energetic space and boundaries. I would be in a great space, like pumped up, happy, positive, and I'd go into a crowded room and my energy level would just drop and I'd feel kind of like irritated, agitated, and heavier. And it was the energy in the room, you
Right.
know? And so that's like it can be overwhelming, it can be draining for
Mhm.
empaths to be in public. And so learning how to have those healthy space and boundaries became crucial to me
Yeah.
so that I could just have everyday normal relationships. And there's a way to still be super connected and like vulnerable with people and be unavailable for,
Yeah.
the negative energies in the space.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I've really, one of the things that really kinda got me to really discover empathy, was, my wife and I, for a period of time there, we were working with families that were dealing with mental health issues. We're dealing with the other family members, and we're just trying to teach them some validation skills and just, let them know, hey, you got to save this relationship. That light at the end of the tunnel, that's not a train barreling down edge. That's hope. It's hope's coming your way.
Yes.
But understanding empathy, and I've read a lot of Brene Brown. I love her. I love what she talks
Yes.
about and how she does it. And a lot of people confuse empathy with sympathy, and they're the exact opposite. Because sympathy, you're making it more about yourself instead of the other person. Empathy, you're really just you're entering. You're just feeling the pain or whatever they're going through. And I've come to appreciate one of the greatest gifts we can give somebody with empathy is to listen. The art of listening is such a lost skill in this day and age. We
Oh
don't
my
listen anymore.
gosh.
We
Just
don't
being
listen.
present to listen
Yeah,
without having, your phone and your iPad and your, dog barking, and
yeah,
there's so many distractions these days. To be able to just be present and listen
yeah,
is so beautiful. And,
yeah.
and I just wanted to comment on Hank. Thank you. Being an empath is a gift, and, it can be a hardship and tough, and finding that balance is
Mhm.
truly, important. Thank you for
Yes,
sharing.
there is a balance. There is a balance. Um, yeah, because if you give too much of yourself, I think I don't want to say it's what's in it for me, but I've had those relationships where you just give and give and give and give and give and give and give, and you never get
Mm,
anything in return. And those are the ones that just I've gotten those out of my life. And I'm not saying I always have to get something in return. There's got to be some give and take. And like I said, there's no such thing as a 50-50 relationship. But sometimes, some of those maybe relationships are maybe 70-30, and you can still get power out of that. You're never going to have an equal relationship. It just doesn't exist. And people that think, well, we got to be on equal footing, I think there's delusion with that. You've got to understand that we're not robots. We all come from different perspectives. We're all unique, and that's what makes us great in how we live life. Is we are all unique creations, and sometimes we miss that. And
yes.
part of people not listening is they only want to be in these little silos of everybody that thinks and acts exactly like I do. That has got to be the
Well,
most
that
boring life
that
there is.
at a
That has got to
primitive
be such a
level
boring life. Yeah,
feels safe. Like, "Oh, they're
yeah,
like me. We're safe." Like, that's just a survival mechanism. But, when we can come from the space of just, how can I be an invitation for love, connection? It just shows up. Now, when you
yeah.
were talking about a minute ago, I had this thought of love languages. Have you ever heard of the
Mhm.
5 love languages?
I've
There's a
heard
book.
them, but yes, yeah, yeah,
So,
I know there is. Yeah.
it's touch, quality time,
Mhm.
words of affirmations, acts of service, and gifts. Like, those are
Mhm.
the 5 main ones that, I think it was Gary Chapman, or Chapman, some
Yeah,
in the author. And
yeah.
the interesting thing that I noticed about the 5 love languages is the more I did my inner work and healing
Mhm.
myself of the deeper wounds of not feeling loved, seen, heard, safe, belong, worthy, deserving, I no longer felt like I was yearning to be loved, and loved in the
Yeah,
way that is my dominant love languages. Like,
yeah.
I used to have touch and words as my primary love languages. And as I did significant inner work to heal, now it's like service, words, but it's okay. Like, it's not a void to fill.
Yeah.
And then also, being able to, um receive. Like, let's talk about receiving muscle, but I wanted to read that comment real
Okay.
quick. Spending your time and energy where it's most important to you, being kind and having love and compassion. Yes, for yourself. Self-love and respect, super important. Pet Shop Boys said, "I love you, you
Pet
pay
Shop Boys quote. You know, Pet Shop Boys. You know, they were banned from. They were banned from one of my college days. I went to college in the
it."
mid '80s, and I think they're still an active band. So some of these bands that are still active. You know, back into my college days. You know, Pet Shop Boys, Depeche Mode. I think they're still active. Violent Femmes of all. They didn't have much out, but they're still active. So all these bands I listened to in college are still around. So I don't know that I could go see them now, but I remember back in the mid '80s, I used to love listening to some of these bands. But so yeah. But you talk about the love languages. You know, my wife and I, we're coming up on 33 years of marriage. And
Congratulations.
thank you. And yes, we've had our challenges, but we have our love languages are very different. For me, I'd
Uh-huh.
say I'm more touch. She is more service. I do the honey-do list. Yeah, I know. I figured this out. Do the honey-do list. She tells me, I just do it because I know that's her love
Good man,
language.
good man.
She loves me to do the honey-do list, so I'll do it. And you know, like I said, mine is definitely touch. You know, I just like an occasional hug. I'm not a you know I'm not I just like an occasional hug, and you know that's what it is. And I do like the affirming words. There is power in words, because there is words are powerful because you know I believe words mean things,
Yes,
and
yes.
you got to be careful with the words you use. You know, I've done a lot of youth work in the past, and you get these. This is through my church, and you know they listened to all these pop songs and they would come in and it's singing these songs. And I'm like, man, be careful with the words you're using, even
Yeah,
when you're
some of
just
them are
singing a
pretty gnarly.
song. Some of them, yeah. I said, be careful with those words because you're saying those words and it starts getting imprinted in your mind. And there's been studies that confirm this. You do things and say things enough, it becomes imprinted, it becomes part of your DNA. And you got to be careful with the words we use, especially the words we use about ourselves. I mean,
Mhm.
I got to be careful with the words I use about myself because there are times I will say words about myself that I would never say to someone else. And I've got to be empathetic to myself. Kind of bring that word back.
Yeah,
Sometimes I just have to
compassionate
be
to
empathetic,
yourself.
compassionate. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's very easy to be tough on ourselves because we know what's going on in that 6-inch space between our ears. We know our deepest and darkest secrets. And a lot of times, we think that, if this ever got out, you know what? People don't care. I've come to understand people don't care.
People
People
actually
don't care.
find that when we're vulnerable and authentically
Yeah.
sharing and coming from that vulnerable space, it's actually pretty
Yeah.
magnetic and
Yeah.
attractive. I mean, if you're a leader, transformation workshop leader, manager, and you're trying to be perfect and put on this perfect front and show, it's off-putting. But if
Yeah.
you're
It is.
naturally yourself you know, and people get your essence and you're like, "Yeah, and I'm also having kind of a tough time right now," or I'm having,
Yeah.
I'm going through something pretty challenging or a
Hmm.
bad day, and I'm sorry in advance, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they honor that. They're like, "Okay, this person's being real with me."
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And I think that authenticity is vital because there's nothing the thing that always drives me crazy, and if someone famous gets exposed for doing something stupid,
yeah.
and when they have to do the interview, what's the first thing they always say? Well, that's not me. Well, yeah, it is you. You were drunk and the real you came out. That is exactly you. That's exactly who you are. You're putting on this show for people to see something else that's not true. And we have to be that because I think people, love the authentic person. And I don't need to spill out every dark secret of my life, but I need to, let people know, hey, I'm just a guy. I'm just a man. And I have
Mhm.
my faults. I'm far from perfect. I've failed more times than I've succeeded. And to me, there's nothing wrong with failure. I
How
mean,
we
because I've
learn.
learned more through my, yeah, I've learned more through my times of failure, anyways, than I have my times of success. And I've had those times of success as well, where I've allowed myself to get full of myself, which then led to a time of failure. You got to be careful when you have those times of success. You got to guard it and celebrate the success, but don't get full of yourself because I've slipped. I've had those slips a couple of times,
Being
and
able
it's humbling.
to have the healthy self-esteem, healthy self-confidence, and humility
Hmm.
together, you know?
Yeah, that's
That's beautiful to me.
That is. All right, something else I wanted to touch on that you share prosperity healing. That sounds very interesting. So I know because on your website the S is a dollar sign. I guess I should have put the dollar sign on that, but I didn't. But
Okay, we'll talk
there
about
you go.
prosperity healing.
Let's talk about prosperity healing.
Well, when I look clairvoyantly, a lot of times the things that are getting in the way are old self-limiting beliefs, imprints,
Hmm.
wounds of not feeling worthy, deserving, safe to put yourself out there. There might be scarcity or poverty consciousness. There could be family legacy stuff, like if, your grandparents were going through the Great Depression and some of that, like, poverty, scarcity, lack energy came
Yeah.
through your parents to you. Like, there's
Hmm.
all of these things that I can see in people's aura, in their body, in their chakras, and
Hmm.
be able to help clear it out. I also look at their timeline, from like 0 to current, and sometimes even like further back than that. But, seeing, okay, well, when they were 3,
Yeah.
mommy or daddy said, I don't have money for that. What do you think?
Hmm.
Money grows on trees. We don't have money for that. And somehow, like, that imprinted onto them.
Yeah.
Uh, and then they're vibrating that energy within them
Hmm.
still.
Yeah.
Until that kind of energy gets cleared out, it's it can wreak havoc at a low, medium, or loud volume. And
Yeah.
for every 100 to 200 conscious thoughts we have, there's 11 million subconscious thoughts. And so I
Mm.
like to like be within the subconscious range to clear that out so that
Yeah.
you can be truly aligned with your conscious mind. Because, people say, "Oh, do these mantras, it's so empowering." And yes, it can be. And we also have to like clear out our subconscious mind so that when you're doing it, it actually is true for you. Not where at this conscious level, you're like, yeah, yeah, I'm super rich and powerful and money comes to me easily. And then down here, you don't deserve that.
Yeah.
No way, Jose. Right?
Yeah.
So we got to get all of you aligned and congruent. Because even if you're like 98% aligned with a goal,
Hmm. Yeah.
that 2% can jack you up. That 2% could be
Oh
the
yeah.
difference
Oh yeah.
between,
100%.
you're trying to have a goal of 15K a month, but that
Yeah.
2% only gets you to like maybe 8, 9, 10K a month. Right? So we
Yeah.
got that 2% is important. Like we got to
Oh
get you
yeah.
all the way to 100.
Yeah. There's the analogy I love that, you're 1% off your course, you take that, well, they shoot spacecraft into space. If they're off 1%, they miss the target by
Oh,
thousands of miles.
oh
They're not
my
even close
gosh.
to the target. So
Yes.
that 1% makes all the difference. And 1%, we've kind of diminished 1%. And 1 degree, whatever you want to call it, 1 degree. At 211 degrees, water's just really hot. At 212 degrees, it begins to change structure. It goes from a liquid state to gaseous state. So
Yep.
that 1 degree can change everything in your life. You said a word I love it, scarcity. And
Yes.
there's this, I say there's a scarcity mindset and abundance mindset. And people that live with an abundance mindset, they're letting things flow into them and flow out. And I absolutely believe this kind of goes maybe going to what you're talking about. When you let things flow in and flow out, things return to you tenfold. When you just try and hang on to everything, you're going to get nothing. I'll just kind of give you the example that I always love to give. From the Bible, we hear about the parable of the 3 servants, and their owner was going away for a length of time, and he said, I say, I need for you men to handle my business while I'm gone. First one, I'm going to give you 5 shares of the business. Second one, I'm going to give you 3 shares of my business. Third one, I'm going to give you 1 share of my business. Well, the one that got 5 and the one that got 3, they lived out of abundance, and they were able to double it. You create, five more shares and three more shares. The owner comes back, he praised him because he knew what their abilities were. Hey, well done. Fantastic job. You both did a fantastic job. I'm going to give you more. But the other one, he hung on to it. He took whatever and just buried and did nothing with it. And the owner was repulsed by that because he lived out of scarcity. He did nothing with that. And that's what living out of scarcity is. We have this life. We have an opportunity each and every day to live in abundance and not scarcity. And the opportunities we have on this thing called today. And I always love to say, you know what? I see too many people that want to hang on to yesterday. I call it the Uncle Rico effect. Have you ever seen the movie Napoleon Dynamite? Uncle Rico, he could throw a football over a mountain. If he was only in the fourth quarter, they wouldn't have won the state championship. He has hang on to that. He's created that as identity, and they never
Mhm.
move past it, or they're focused on tomorrow
Mhm.
and they worry about tomorrow. But here's the reality: there's no guarantee we're going to get it tomorrow. All our opportunities are in today. That's the opportunity for you to live an abundant life. Is in this thing we call today.
Now, the now. And the other thing
Now,
energetically is when people are holding on, it's like, like, oh, I got to hold on to that, money and bury it, like, in the story.
yeah,
But then your hands are closed. You can't, like, then
exactly.
say, okay, God, give me more, because you're already
Yeah,
full. You're already
yeah.
clinging. Like the energy gets tight, constricted, smaller. See,
Mm-hmm,
we have a space around us. So let's imagine that, like this is the space around you, right?
mm-hmm,
And you're here in the middle. And when you're coming from scarcity, the space gets so tiny, so small. And we have a money space, it's
yeah.
to me what some one of the spaces that I see energetically. Well, people who have an abundant space and an abundant money space in particular, it's like their spaces are really big, right? But
Right.
people who are like fear based, it's so tiny and so small, and they're clenching and they're holding and they're constricted, and there's all this tension in their body, and so there's like no room for
Yeah.
more blessings to pour in.
Yeah. The most simplest explanation I give is you put a glass on the table, you fill it with water, and you ask, can any more water be put in this? And so some people, the scarcity mindset, no, it's full.
Mhm.
Okay, I dump it out. I put more water in. Can I
Mhm.
put more? And so you just keep, yeah. That's what abundance is about. Pour yourself out into others. Live that abundant mindset. Live that abundant life. And I'm not saying you're going to get to become wealthy, but it's a way to give of yourself because I
Yeah.
absolutely believe we have been given this life to give to others in a powerful way, and whatever that may be. We are all gifted uniquely. We're not all our gifts are different. Think about an orchestra. I'm sure you've been to a symphony, and the number one position is the first violinist. That's the primo spot is the first violinist. So if we went to an orchestra where it's a bunch of first violinists, it probably wouldn't be very good. But we need somebody to play percussion. We need somebody to play the oboe. We need somebody to play the little triangle. Okay. We need somebody to play all these different instruments. And when they play them, it makes a beautiful sound. And that's what our gifts are like. When we live our gifts and do them in a way of abundance, it makes a beautiful sound. It makes a beautiful tapestry of the world.
And when we attune them to the frequency of the divine,
Yes.
then it's resonating, right? If we're just
Yes.
trying to let our ego play the song,
Hmm.
it can be flat, it can be harsh, it can be off key. But when we're connecting to source and be like, okay, God, I am thy vessel, use me, then it's like the tone, the quality, the vibration is so much more
Yeah.
beautiful.
And I think a lot of people, you say, use me as you will. I think for a lot of people, that scares them. It scares them. I mean, it
It
scares
can
me when
be.
it scares me. It scares me at times too when I think about it. But use me as you will, your will, not mine.
Mhm.
And, when we get out of ourselves, that's when we start living that abundance, and it can be scary. I get it, but you know what? If you're not doing things that scare you, then you got to find them. And I always tell my clients, hey, if your goals don't scare you, you got to make them bigger. If your dreams don't scare you, make them bigger. because that's you becoming that best version. And that's the problem I think a lot of people have with goals is they make them so small, they accomplish them, and they've done nothing for their lives. They have not taken themselves to that next level, which is a
Well,
perfect segue. I know you wanted to take us on an aligning with your goals.
yes, yes. Okay. So, um, do you guys want to do a kinesthetic exercise that's going to help you to get clear and aligned with your goals? Wait, let me read this comment. What if I prefer karaoke, solo sport over a symphony, team sport?
But you know what, karaoke is not a solo. You got an audience out there, and they're gonna give you their feedback right away. So, yes. I'm okay. Hey, God bless you for doing karaoke. I've talked a big game.
I
I'll
love
do
karaoke.
karaoke. I've never done it. I've never done it. Maybe at some point I need to give it a shot, but I've never done it. So singing is not my gift. I'll just put it that way. So
You can bust out of your comfort zone.
that's right. That's right. All right. Proceed with aligning with our goals. Aligning with
Okay,
our goals.
aligning with our
Just take us
goals.
on. Take us on this journey.
Okay, so I'd like you to get out a pen and paper, if you would please. And for the next 30, 60 seconds, I'm going to have you write down a goal in a positive present tense statement. Something like, if you want it to be about money, money comes to me easily and consistently, or I joyfully receive $12,000 or more every month, or
Mhm,
um, I'm in a loving partnership with the right man or woman. Um,
mhm,
or a health goal, like my body, mind, and spirit are super healthy and thriving, or, pick
mhm.
something that resonates with you. It's got to be positive and present tense. And if you want to put it in the chat, I'll tune in and see if that's a good fit for you, by the way. So go ahead. I'll be quiet for like 20 seconds while you write. Okay. Rob, do you want to share your goal and let me muscle test it for you?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, mine is a financial goal of what I want to do with my business on a yearly income and the amount of clients I want to bring in each month.
Okay. So in at this moment, when I muscle test it, you're not yet aligned. Okay.
Okay.
Which is normal. Like, this is our where we want to be, but we're not owning it at 100% yet. So
Right.
this is good, right?
Mhm.
Hank, my hands are steady and my voice is strong and clear. Okay. So, and is that a good goal for you? Yes. Okay. So you can, whatever your goal is that you just wrote down, just make sure it's
Mhm.
positive and present tense. Now,
Okay.
I'm going to guide you through a process that I learned through Summit Transformation. It's called a crossover balance. This is just one of 25 different healing tools that I have in my tool chest. I mean, I've literally been training with different healing masters from the age of 13 onward and have a
Yeah.
plethora of tools. And this one was just something that I felt would be really great for you and this audience. So, and it's
Okay.
easy and it's fun. Okay? So, go ahead and cross your arms at your chest and keep your feet flat on the floor,
Mhm.
and with your eyes closed, mentally, silently affirm your goal over and over again until for the next minute or two, until I give you the next step. So, mentally, silently affirm your goal in your mind. Keep breathing and affirming your goal. Now uncross and recross so the other arm is on top, and continue mentally silently affirming your goal with your eyes closed. Very good. Now put your hands in front of your chest, about 6 inches from your chest, and start tapping your fingertips together like this. And with your eyes closed, continue mentally, silently repeating your goal. Good. Now just have your fingertips touching and continue mentally, silently affirming your goal with eyes closed. Keep breathing. Good. You're ready. You can relax, take a sip of water, as well that helps your electrical system. And then I'm going to muscle test for you. Okay, now let me test for your goal, Rob. See, now it tests strong, okay, where before it tested weak. So this process helps you to get more aligned. Now, when you follow it up with action, which is a
Yeah.
great, you know, part of your show, right? The Imperfect
Yes.
Action live streaming show.
Imperfect action.
Right.
Stop thinking. Just take action. Stop thinking and just take the action.
So, what action plan can you have that will support your goal? So, go ahead and take, 30 to 60 seconds to write that down right now. Okay. And then what actions do you need to put on your calendar? Make a
Okay.
star by that or highlight that so that when we're done with this broadcast, you can actually follow through and get it on your calendar.
Yeah. Perfect.
Because we
Perfect.
need that emotional commitment to like follow through. Like, is it on your
Yeah.
calendar with a reminder, a
Yeah.
notification, and then
Yeah.
do it because
Yeah.
there were some studies
Yeah.
that were done specifically with this process that how do I put it? The proportion with which people followed through on the action
Mhm.
that they wrote down after they did this process directly correlated with the proportion of success they had with that goal.
Yeah. Right.
Right. So if, even though we might have gotten your subconscious, aligned now, you still have to have the physical activity and action
Right.
to manifest that. It's like God helps those who help themselves. Well,
Yeah.
do it.
Just do it. Just do it. Yeah. Just do it. I mean, all time great market saying, just do it.
That's right.
Yeah. You know what? And when you have those goals, one thing you got to be specific. Be specific as you can. Just don't put some generic thing up on your calendar. And I do it twice. I have a digital calendar, and I have my day planner, and I write them out. This is what I'm going to do today, and because I mean, I think the studies have shown well, physically writing things out, there's power in that as well. Instead of just typing some random thing you're going to do to my Google Calendar, even when I put something in my Google Calendar, I'm very specific. All right, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. The SMART goal concept. I mean, people laugh about, but there's something to these SMART goals. I mean, be specific, measurable, actionable, relative, and time bound. How are you doing it? And there's something to that, and that forces you to be specific. So let me kind of back up with the exercise we did. Is this a daily practice that you would anticipate people to do?
Um, it depends. I mean, this was
Okay.
just one of so this was like level 1.
Yeah.
And I'm certified through level 4. So on
Yeah.
occasion, I'm testing it and I'm seeing like, okay, well, can we do a level 1 process with that goal? And sometimes it's a no. Like we've got to
Yeah.
do a level 2 or a level 3 or a level 4 to help you even more get out of your own way to then align it. Like there's this mind balance, which is a level 4. It's my favorite, but it takes
Yeah.
upwards of an hour and a half. But man, it's
Okay.
like peeling away all that interference to get to what we call the first domino. Like once
Yeah.
you get that aligned, everything else lines up. And And so that's just one of the many processes that I can take people through. And I
Okay.
thought it'd be a fun one because it's very goal
Yeah,
oriented,
it was good.
action oriented.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're kind of coming up on the hour here, and how can people get in contact with you?
Callwithtiffany.com. And when type in the URL callwithtiffany.com, you'll get to my page where you can schedule a 15-minute blind spot strategy session with me. And, um, I'll help you out. And if we resonate, I'll make an invitation to, play at an even deeper level. And, if we're not a good fit, I'm okay with that. Let me just help you
Yeah.
because I love and I serve.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I mean, you can't please everyone. If you're trying to please everyone, you please no one.
Yeah.
So,
It,
and you can't be everybody's cup. I know I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm sure you realize you're not everybody's cup of tea. But you,
no.
you
And
gotta there's gotta be a way that both you and your client can work. And there's
and
nothing more frustrating than getting a client that doesn't want to do the work.
I like to do the deep work, the stuff that
Yeah,
goes to your core, because that's life changing. And
it is.
typically, we need multiple sessions to get there. So I have like a 1 month Yes to Healing package, a 3 month Upgrade and
Hmm.
Expand, and a 6 month Magnificent Life package. And then for those who like more of a group environment plus healing, I have my embodiment program for conscious
Yeah,
creation, love, and empowerment. So depending on, what is your flavor of learning and receiving, I've got different options for you. And I
good.
have my Intuitive Insights Club if you want to do it all online, with online content. So there's, I've got you, is what I'm saying. I got you.
All right. Well, cool. Like I said, like, we're at the Imperfect Action. You too can appear as a guest on the Imperfect Action live stream. Just go to my Calendly, schedule a date and time when you two can be on it. I'm going to do a little shameless plug as well. I got a couple other communities I sponsor. The Iron Sharpens Iron community. On Tuesdays, when I'm not doing the Imperfect Action live stream, I am hosting my Iron Sharpens Iron community. You're certainly more than welcome to that. And Tiffany and I, we actually met at another event I have, the Virtual Friday Whiskey Hour.
No,
And
I don't
Tiffany,
drink whiskey,
yes,
but I was
yeah,
invited, and
you were
I'm so
invited.
glad that I did because that's where I met Rob. And now Rob is
Yes,
actually going to be a speaker at my Global Heart Activation events
yeah,
coming up April 12th and 13th. So you guys can catch that live
yes.
in April. And
Yeah, you said you're not a whiskey. There's no requirement to drink whiskey, but you put the word whiskey in there, and it's like a hook. People are like hooked onto that one, so that's why the word whiskey. Now, I admit, I do. I'll drink a little whiskey. I'm not a big drinker, but I will drink a little whiskey. And so yeah. So and again, if you want to schedule a call with me, you can also reach me at Calendly.com. Rob Fenstermaker. I'd love to have a conversation with you as well. Tiffany, this has been great. I hope those that who were in attendance, I really hope you got some value out of this. And Tiffany, I enjoyed this conversation. I hope you did as well.
me too. I really like collaborating with you, and I feel like we probably, if time was not an issue, we'd probably be talking for another few hours.
Yeah,
So
we could. We
you're
could.
great
I don't know how many
people.
people. I don't know how many people would hang out for a few hours. People have a limited bandwidth there. But I've really enjoyed this. And again, if you want to be a guest as well, just reach out to me. We'll get something figured out. We'll get a date and time figured out for you as well. Tiffany, I cannot thank you enough for my first Imperfect Action live stream of 2024, and I'm going to make this a thing. So
My pleasure. Happy to help.
yes. All right, everybody. Peace out. Let's make this a great day. Take care.